Welcome back to drillingcontractor.org. I'm Joanne Liu reporting from the 2014 IADC Asset Integrity and Reliability Conference in Houston. Joining me is Bob Heffen of the Resources Management Group. Bob, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So Bob, tell us a little bit more about the best way to establish a new asset.
Okay, so when you're identifying a new asset and you're bringing it into your system, you want to create a standard rule set to identify what the nomenclature or taxonomy of that asset is and how you're going to enter it in the system. You want to utilize that rule set to make sure that everyone in the organization, when they're entering a new asset, does it in a standard way with a standard format.
Okay. And part of that is data. You mentioned that it's not only good or not just any data, you need quality data.
Correct. So maintenance today is a data-driven exercise. When people think of maintenance, they typically think of the work being performed in the field. But maintenance, when you study the process of maintenance, it involves identification of the work. You have to plan it, schedule it, identify all the spare parts and materials that are required, and prepare that for the craftsman or technician that's actually going to go into the field and do that work. If the data that is in your system doesn't match what is in the field, you have a high probability of not having the right parts, materials, tools, or knowledge to properly execute the work.
And in the planning process, you mentioned that we shouldn't be planning for emergencies. Can you go into more details?
Yes. So most organizations today, particularly if their maintenance program is reactive instead of proactive, which means that they don't have good control of their asset condition or reliability, if they're having a lot of breakdowns, they're not able to properly plan and schedule the execution of their predictive and preventive maintenance work because it is interrupted by emergencies or breakdowns. It's a bad practice not to fully schedule the time of your technicians and craftsmen to execute that work. By planning for emergencies, you actually create a window of time that can possibly be wasted. If the failure doesn't occur, or if there is no emergency, which is a random event, then you have a window of time that is essentially lost.
Well, Bob, thanks so much for sharing with us your presentation today.
All right, thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us on drillingcontractor.org.